All right, we're back for part 4, I believe. Trying to get through this board meeting. It always takes me forever because I rather do other things. But this is important. There's some stuff here I want to hear eventually. Oh, yeah, there's some stuff here that I definitely want to get to. So, without further ado, let's keep moving forward.
To the board, it's a pleasure to be back. So yes, the good news continues with HOP.
Oh yeah.
Is there a PowerPoint being fired up?
Oh fuck HOP. Don't care about HOP. We can skip HOP. I don't care about it. Okay. I only want to listen to things that I want to listen to.
Oh good. Okay, great. So for the retail network, I'm pleased to announce we're at over 350 retail stores that are now open to date, and convenience stores are traditionally difficult to get into, and those would be the 7-Elevens and Plaid Pantries of the world to sell transit fares. But I'm pleased to report that they're both loading money now. That's over 200 stores throughout the region, which is very exciting.
We don't care. Keep moving. Where's this end? Keep moving. Moving.
In their store.
Still going. Still going. What's this?
Please give me a call. The ability to pay with your phone has been popular. So with to date, you've been able to buy an adult fare by tapping your phone with Android Pay, Apple Pay, or Samsung Pay.
Yeah, it's all wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, come on. We're going to get through with this. How long is his presentation anyway? Keep moving. Keep moving. All right.
Good move. I'm sure they get beat up pretty good, or the exposure. Yeah, thanks. And good luck to you.
Thank you.
Good luck to you. Yeah.
Thanks to you, Chris, for your great work and the successful delivery.
So I have one more question up here.
How much longer will it take to be able to get Apple Pay and Samsung?
It's a good question. So right now, what I can cover is that we are exploring the technology with Apple, and hopefully we'll see something in 2018.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes.
Again, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, Tucker, get out of here. Next.
We wanted to give you just a quick update on a large number of public meetings and conversations we've been having about our potential service plan for next year, as well as a number of other topics, including low-income fare citation and
I want to get to that. I want to hear the low-income fare.
Fast JC to give you a top-level report.
Get to the parts of the thing I want to hear
from our constituents and riders. JC?
So good morning. So I'll give you a quick update on where we're at when it comes to our outreach.
Oh, look, it's JC Vanetta boy
for you about 2 months ago.
176,000 a year. Yep. I think it's more than that now.
So those topics were
more like 184,000.
The proposed service improvements on our bus lines. What that means: new bus lines, better frequency, all-night service, an extension of a new bus line out to the Portland International Airport. The budget, the capital investments that we're making in revamping some of our oldest MAX stations, testing electric buses, the Division Transit Project, Red Line Extension, and others. When it came to the two other topics, the fare citations process, really informing folks about what this process is and to get some feedback from them. And with the low-income fare program, again, introducing this new program to them, as well as getting some feedback on how it should be administered. So when we look at how we reached out to folks, this is probably one of the largest outreach endeavors that we have had at the agency. We had 7 public open houses around the region. We had employee open houses, so they knew how to talk about these improvements. We had numerous stakeholders. We also had extensive media coverage, getting the word out, not only about what we're planning on doing, but also to request feedback from folks. We used Twitter. We had our trimet.org/plan.
What? Does anybody remember seeing any Trimet tweets about this on Twitter? Because I sure as hell don't. Okay? And as people know, I'm on the Twitter every day without fail. Unless I'm indisposed for some reason, which doesn't happen very often.
Page as a repository for information, as well as asking for feedback. We called it an online open house. We also had ads in various papers and used social media, but one of the big things that I want to point out to you is one of the first for our agency, and that is we mailed to over 160,000 addresses within a quarter mile around the bus service, the proposed bus service changes. This is new for us because we have not done this on the point in time where we're proposing it, we're thinking about it. We did this for two reasons. One was to obviously ask for feedback, but two, to build excitement around some of the investments that we're making in our service.
All right. Okay. You heard them. To build excitement around what they're doing. And this is what I've been harping on ever since I've been on the whole Trimet kick. Propagandizing is what they're propagandizing themselves. That's what they do. They have multi-million-dollar marketing department, and that's what they do. So, I mean, that's, propagandizing. Okay, at least he said it.
So it's gone very well. It's costly, but we think that it's definitely well worth it.
Costly, not as much
obviously, we used email to get out to people, onboard outreach, low-income fare and citation survey, which you'll hear more about that from Eric Van Hagen and John Gardner in their presentations to you. We also used multicultural organizations to really help get feedback from limited English proficiency communities. All in all, we received over 6,500 comments as of December 1st. So we still have, and it closes December 31st. So that
I don't know if any of you saw the post. I did it on Twitter. Of course, it's almost impossible to keep track of me on Twitter. But the Seattle Metro had some kind of similar outreach as this, and they posted every single comment in their online presentation about it. I've never seen Trimet do that.
Comment period continues. So what we heard, these are very, very high level, so when you read them, but I will say this, is that we have had general support for all of that we are proposing. So when it comes to service changes, people love the Line 4 split idea. They also like quicker transfers on the Line 4 on the mall. And they were very excited about us bringing back 24-hour service. So there's just a lot of support around the service investments that we're making.
Yeah, and let's be honest about this too. If you follow the Twitter conversations, which I know most people don't, this is all bringing back the excellent service that was once available at Trimet and was ended in favor of light rail expansion. That's when all the 24-hour service routes were canceled, was when the light rail started. So light rail has really degraded the transit systems of the United States, especially Portland Trimet. So, and that's why ridership has just been bad at Trimet. And Seattle, it's just booming. But here in Portland, it's just flat or actually slowly declining.
When it comes to the low-income fare program and the citations process, again, just general support for, yes, please do this. A little note about the citations process. We heard some good feedback about having community service options for food kit.
We always had community service options, by the way. That was always there. That's not new, even though Trimet's marketing it as something new. It was already there.
And animal shelters, which I thought was interesting. With our buses, people are really excited about our electric buses. With our budget, a lot of excitement around our investments in electric buses. Happy to see the red line extended to Hillsborough, and definitely waiting for the high capacity transit to come to Division.
See, that's all. See what this? That's why I don't watch these board meetings, because it's all bullshit, man. It's just goddamn rah rah shish boom ba. It's like a pep rally. It reminds me of my high school pep rallies where they get around, they say how great the school is and how great everything is, and that's what this crap is. Everybody's excited about everything. Notice how he hasn't brought up one criticism. Not even everybody's excited. Everybody's great. Yeah.
So what's next? As I said, the comment period ends the 31st. We are routing all of those comments to the respective managers for changes. You will see you'll see refinements and proposals will go back out to the public in early February. We're thinking about 3 more public open houses. Obviously, a lot less outreach this time around because there was so much support. And then we'll finalize
There's
the
so
service
much
proposals
support,
that will be
we don't
brought to
need
you
to
at your
do
March
anymore.
board meeting with a public hearing, and then you'll consider it for final approval at the second reading in April. So, and when it comes to low-income fare, a lot of outreach continues. As you'll hear later on, we will be developing a lot of marketing and outreach.
All right, this is
plans for
boring. It's just JC Vanetta doing his bullshit, so we're going to skip it. Move forward.
feeling. With that, I'll take any questions.
Questions for JC? No, good report.
Yeah,
A lot
of course,
effort.
it's a good
nice
report.
To see, and
Yeah, nice to see you, JC.
it is exciting time. And I hear the same thing when I'm out talking to folks about,
Yeah.
especially the 24-hour service. I know how many times I've heard people comment on that. So glad to hear that what I'm hearing is consistent with what you're hearing too. So good. Thank you for the report.
Yeah.
Continue on, if I could ask Harry Sapporta to come up, one of the things we want to do is regularly give you an update on our program regarding operator assaults and our work
Oh,
to
okay.
try to
Here's something worth
reduce
listening
and indeed eliminate the opportunity for that. We've made some great progress, I think, working with our continuous improvement team over the last couple of months, and I'll let Harry take it from there.
All right, here we go. Now, all right, we're going to hear Harry Supporter, otherwise known as Harry, as in my here, supporter, as in athletic supporter. So let's hear what they have to say about their safety, and as we know, they're still getting assaulted every day out there. So what does the executive team of brilliant managers have to say about this?
Good morning. The continuous improvement team, I want to remind everyone, is really a very eclectic group comprised of bus operators, members of the executive board of ATU, the commander, and the district attorney, and then collectively, and also some road supervisors and training staff. And collectively, we've been making advancements. We are in the midst of the bus operator recertification program right now, and we are in round 2 of training operators on new skill sets and enhancing the existing skill sets in avoiding and preventing assaults. We are also introducing the same concepts with the rail operators, and that is new because unfortunately we do have incidents in which they are affected as well. Although they are in cabs, sometimes there is an altercation. So what I wanted to do is give you just a brief overview of some of the stats. Unfortunately, the numbers are relatively flat.
Yeah, before we get going on this, there's an awful lot of debate about these numbers. These are the assault as the police classify assault. So, I mean, you have to get hurt or hit. It's not the menacing or psychological abuse. It's just actual, literal assault.
We seem to be making improvements, but then we see a little bit of a rise, and we're still trying to study that and understand exactly why that is. Recognizing that training alone will not solve the problem, the continuous improvement team also recommended the adoption of a barrier. These barriers, this is an example of the barrier that we are suggesting. The barriers are actually in use by a number of other transit agencies nationally, so this is not unique to Portland. The one that you do see is one that is currently being used in Washington, D.C. They are retrofitting every single bus with this barrier. So we wanted to make sure that when we suggested a barrier, and in fact I will say that the members of the CIT actually came up with the suggestion itself as well, is that it's one that is accepted by most operators. And one thing that we heard clearly from the operators is please don't make it a full enclosure, because that presents some unique problems in itself. But rather that it's a enclosure that it encompasses about 3/4 of the operator's area. The original barrier that was examined was one that did not, was about a half enclosure, and we received feedback and the operator said, no, we want something more. So this is a barrier that has an extended glass. And again, this is what Washington, D.C. adopted in the metro system. So these are photos, but I think it's more telling if I actually showed you how this worked. So I'm not sure
Okay,
how
let's
to
see
activate this. And what you'll see in the video is the barrier in one of our buses. It's one of our bus transportation trainers that is demonstrating the barrier and how it's used.
All right, can we see? Let's see. Video demonstration. Let's turn our little. God, everything's. I just don't have the professional equipment anymore, like I used to have. Okay.
Well, maybe another time.
Oh, the video demonstration is not working. Come on, get it going. God, but they got their high tech, $1 million tech IT department. They can't get it going. Is it going? Look at this. All right, here we go.
There it goes.
Come on, make it bigger. Jesus, look at this. Oh, it's a YouTube video. Oh, we saw that. We saw the YouTube video. Yeah, this is. I can't.
It's very simple to use.
Why isn't this?
It's also designed so that if an individual is in a mobility device when they board, it allows room for that. We have heard some comments that there's some very large mobility devices that it may not be able to accommodate. But again, this barrier style is in use in a number of other transit agencies, and they seem to have good success with it. That is a filler that there was a gap previously, and it's a filler plate that closes that gap so that a hand or some other object can be introduced behind the operator.
I can't get a good picture of
that. The
that.
operator does have the ability to slide the glass shield forward.
See.
And so that it's fully extended. There is a cutout as well because of access to the fare box. It does not go from floor to ceiling. And it does have intermediate stops in between as well. So it could be fully retracted. It still offers protection, even in the fully retracted position. But if you want and feel that you want more protection, it could be slid forward more. And that's really, we're making that optional to the operator as to which position they wish to have it deployed. We will then, once it's in use, then we'll study, look at our incident rates again and see how it's working. So right now the plan is to place barriers on every single new bus procurement. So everything, not with the latest that we're receiving today, but those in the future, and then looking at retrofitting buses as well. So I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, well, I think it's I think it's the best that they can do. I really don't know what they can do see Henry Beasley for ideas about what they can do. That's one of those complicated things. And as the culture continues declining, it's just going to get worse and worse out there for bus operators, not only in Portland, but everywhere else. Anyway, yeah.
Questions by the board? So this is the design that we've selected now for...
Yes, this is the one the operators have settled on. And we have received some negative feedback, but what I find interesting is that for the most part, those that have provided the feedback never, ever sat in the seat. It's just a perception problem. So
it's a perception problem.
The operators that are on the committee fully
I guess you can't make everybody happy, can you?
Including those that represent ATU. So we're moving forward.
All right. Thank you. Yes. All right. Thank you very much for that report.
That's it? Well, that was a waste of time.
One other report I mentioned earlier, I asked Kelsey to come forward, that we actually have been seeing continued improvements in our operation and performance statistics. I'd like Doug to go through our overall continuous improvement effort in that regard.
Are we ready for winter?
We are. Let me ask Doug to just sort of address that as well. We have an updated winter operations plan. It's in place.
They've updated.
And, exactly. We'll hope for.
Of course, this was done before they got caught with their. This meeting happened before they got caught with their pants down again, and 75 buses got stuck at once. I remember hearing that on the dispatch. I don't really know if there's anything Trimet can do about that. You know, it's one of those situations where if they're not going to plow the roads, what the hell do you expect Trimet to do? Okay, if the roads aren't passable, you can't put that on Trimet.
So maybe good morning, Mr. President.
Here's Kelsey.
The board. Maybe I'll address that one right up front.
A lot of us think he's the next
the answer is yes.
general manager.
I think some of the learnings from last winter have been embedded in some of our readiness and resilience, and we've, in some cases, practiced them. I'll give you an example. Last year we had some of our trains had, if you have freezing rain, that is very, very difficult for anyone to operate in. So we've actually got more ice cutters out there, which are ability to potentially, you try and keep running as best as you can without jeopardizing safety. So it's ability to not allow ice to build up over the overhead catenary system, so you can keep running them throughout the night to the degree that you can before Mother Nature takes over. So that's one example. So we'll be up to about 6 of the capability on our fleet that have that versus
6.
Basically was running 2 last year.
6 ice cutters.
There's quite a number of areas that we've tried to build resiliency in, but there's only so far we can go.
Maybe, huh?
And we'll have to watch some of the decision making we made last year. Said, do we, as opposed to getting to more of a force majeure type of approach, where it says maybe we need to stop sooner. In some cases where we had operators stranding out in buses, things of that nature. So last year, in fact, we pushed it so hard. I think we may need to look at some of the tactics that to make adjustments sooner. So yes, there's been a lot of work that's been put into this, and we are ready, including extra sand and all the other kind of fun things that go into this. So.
Yeah, right.
Well, good morning, everybody. So I'd like to cover off the report in 3 key areas. So I won't cover off every single element, but maybe highlight just the key portions for you and answer any questions you may have at the end. The first area is around the whole vehicle and system reliability side of things. As we look at bus and rail maintenance of way, in terms of their objectives they set for 2017 for the third quarter, now those are established by the Federal Transportation Administration with a target of at least hitting 80%. The great news is the team is tracking here at 97.8%. They did very, very strong performance here, and they deserve a tremendous amount of credit.
What are you talking about?
Particularly with some of the mechanic shortfalls that we have, and I think the board is well aware of some of the challenges that come with that. So a lot of the mechanics have been working overtime. I just really want to thank all of them and the whole team to be able to pull off this result.
What? I missed it. I'm busy.
The rail equipment maintenance has declined slightly from 82.7% to 82.2, still well above the minimal target standard. And the challenge that particularly will come, and we'll talk a little bit later about this, is the Type 1 fleet performance. It's actually holding us back. The Type 5s, for example, are actually had a great month, and we'll get to that in a sec, just around the mean distance between failure. But all in all, solid performance there. In terms of the mean distance between failure, on the MAX system, had a very strong quarter, as increasing by over 21%. In terms of the mean distance between failures, again, the Type 1s, as I just referenced, they continue to hold the net fleet performance back. It's tracking around 3,000 miles mean distance between the failures. You kind of visualize that, somewhere between Portland and New York, distance-wise, visually. The Type 5s, though, had a terrific month of over 26,000 miles. So then that's not to say the end state, but we need to keep moving the whole fleet up over time. And the benefit of it is our mechanics and our service workers get to go work on the higher type of work. It'll be better for everybody. And ultimately, the benefactor of all this is the customer experience. The bus mean distance between failures also increased by over 32% in the last quarter, so some really strong performance. The maintenance team's really been digging in, and they really deserve a lot of credit here from all levels to be able to pull this off. In terms of attendance, just up slightly, 0.6%. Could have been even higher with all the overtime that's been running for everybody. At some point, that's why we need all hands on deck to be able to pull these results off. Second category for you today is service delivery. The bus on-time performance shows an increase of 2.1% over the previous year and quarter. This is a result of when we started this, the on-time performance was about 81.1% over the whole year period. We're now tracking in the 86 to 87% range. So actually, even the complex bus system, in some parts, as we all know, we're running on the public.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe any of this statistical stuff. I mean, there's no way to verify any of this information. They spew the information and we accept it, and there's no way to verify any of it. And there's all kinds of little tricks they do. Like I know with the Max, they'll just drop whole trips. If they're really late, they'll just get out of their train, walk across the street, and take the train that's on their time. And what that does is it drops the entire rest of the trip. But it does put them back on time. So there's lots of little tricks they do with their on-time performance. So you take it with a grain of salt.
Services of the road network, we don't control all that, but there's many parts we do control. And there's parts we can influence. So a lot of work is in play as to the parts we can control directly, getting the buses out on time. The performance there has been very, very strong. We started off in the low 80s. We're now averaging in the mid to high 90s in terms of getting the buses out of the yard on time, and that's something we directly control. So great, thanks.
Okay, so 1 in 10 buses doesn't show up, and that's right. I would agree. That's always been what I had concluded after years of being in. About 1 in 10 buses won't show up at all. I mean, it'll just be gone. Okay, that's a 10% failure rate. I guess I consider that success. They get out of the yard anyway.
To the operators for helping us do this, and as well as all the levels of management. Max on-time performance, it decreased slightly over this quarter period from 84.4 to 84.3, so a tenth.
Yeah.
What I can tell you is, in fact, the last 3 days of actual performance are all above 91%. In fact, the last 31-day rolling period was just shy of 90% of 80.9, 80.7%. So the general trend is we're seeing a lot more days well over the 90% range, which show us the agency can do this. But it takes everybody, like an orchestra, to hit their notes. And a lot of people deserve a lot of credit as we move and transform to making sure we're safe while we're doing this. But ultimately, the benefactor, again, is the customer on this. This is part of the customer experience. West on-time performance declined by over 2% from Q3, from 95.7 to 93.5%. Again, this is attributed mainly to some signaling issues. And then also, if we go back, it seems like a long time ago now, but we had some high temperatures back then. So we have some speed restrictions that come with some of these high temperatures, and that's what you...
Just so you know, you hear all these different bings, and these are all notifications. I don't just sit here and watch this boring ass shit. I'm also tweeting and instant messaging, and I'm a social media guy. It's fun for me, and so I do it because it's fun. All of this stuff is fun for me, and I really don't care if anybody sees it or not. I do this because it's entertainment to me, I don't know if I'll ever get bored. I don't know. It seems like I've been at this for so long. I wouldn't know what to do without Trimet. That's why I'm always surprised when people try to say, "Oh, you hate Trimet. You just hate them." It's completely ridiculous. All you have to do is watch me to see that I don't hate Trimet. I'm addicted to it. It's its own little soap opera. It's its own little world. It's as valid a world as Donald Trump and the federal government. This is another tax farm over here, and it functions just like the government because it is a government. They have their own little aristocracy. He's one of the counts, I guess you'd call it. Yeah. So anyway,
see hitting the result. This is something, though, we do need to watch on the west side. My own assessment is the performance should be in the top quartile performer of the 95 plus range. So we're dipping down into the lower 90 range. I think this is something that the team is going to be looking at to say, what do we need to change here that we can control directly, including looking at some maintenance practices, things of that nature, and other potential capital investments that allow us to make sure we maintain that top-tier performer level, which it historically has been. The boarding rides per revenue hour declined by 4% last year, and Neil McFarland spoke to some of the ridership issues briefly, and I won't repeat those.
Yeah, negative, that's negative.
But I think a couple comments I would make. About half of the boarding rides per revenue hour is accounted for the fewer boardings, and the rest is due to increased revenue hours. So we're putting more service out there, and so some of the capacity hasn't yet grown into the new service that's available for people. So we start looking at it on not just a ridership basis, but a yield performance basis. So we're investing for the future a bit, but we will have to watch this.
Yeah.
In terms of operator support, this is one area I think is quite interesting. Is the bus collisions over the last quarter up by over 28%.
Whoa!
That's a significant increase here.
Don't you hear that? That's 28% increase in bus collisions. Wow. Let's hear how he minimizes this.
And as we look at this, we've seen a lot of mirror strikes.
Yeah.
And we had
hundreds of mirror strikes. You have those big ass mirrors hanging out. Hundreds of mirror strikes, and they don't do anything to change the design of the mirror. That's this guy.
Have some newer operators out there as we kind of look at the analysis, and that's not uncommon when you have new operators. They need support. And one of the initiatives that I will mention to you that we're just in the process of implementing is a turn-by-turn capability. And in itself, it's not related to the collisions, but what we're going to do that is unique, and what a turn-by-turn is a bit like if you go to Waze or other ways, it's a turn left here 100. So we'll put our own routes.
Yeah, they've had the capability to do that. I don't know why the hell they haven't actually implemented that. Jesus, that would save a lot of confusion.
In there, it'll tell any operator what each route direction should be. But what is unique, what we're going to really put in here, is also identifying all of our high collision safety incident areas that we experience ourselves, and that it will identify it for an operator ahead of time. And I won't have this right, but you play it out, something to effect, like on Waze, if you follow that technology, it says up ahead is a high high collision intersection. So it may prompt the operator to be aware what we've based on our actual statistics, and so we'll load those tables in, and that will become part of making sure the operator has the most appropriate information. So that's an example of sort of innovation and how we're trying to tie using the primary technology and leveraging it to also enhance safety for the operator and ourselves and our customers. Fixed route complaints are down by 6.8% last year, and flat compared to the quarter. The service delivery complaints have also decreased by over 8%. Safety-related complaints are up by 6%. However, when you really look at the analysis on it, they're actually quite a small number when you start looking at things that are about 4 complaints per 100,000 boardings. So the number might pop up, but really a relatively small base number.
Always an excuse.
Max operator complaints are essentially flat for the organization. The bus operator commendations very consistent long-term upward trending. This has been just a great success story, and the operators really need to be applauded and congratulated for those results. Not only at the individual level, because they're hard jobs. They're hard jobs dealing with the public, and they do a great job for us all. Now, if we remember, last year's was actually the highest on record also. So if we remember where we were, so there's an adjustment downwards, but that long-term trend of where we're going is actually very, very positive. And finally, the last comment I would make, and happy to answer any questions after that, is really around max rule, the violation side. So I elected to wrap this in briefly as part of the overall performance, which was reporting separately on it. I think in summary, the strong results have been achieved over the past year, and we've actually seen a 50% reduction in actual violations. So significant progress, lots more to do. It takes everybody has a role in this to help us through this. including capital and planning and training, and we're putting more training hours out there to help particularly those new operators. So, but I think the results I think are positive, but we need to stay vigilant on this and do even further. So that would conclude my comments, and happy to answer any questions.
Did you have the shutdown out there on the west? Wasn't there maintenance? Was going to be a shutdown or I remember we approved the contract, and I forget who, a couple months ago. You had to go underneath the rails to do some work.
What's he yakking about now?
Tunnel up. No, out west, on the west.
Oh, on west. I'm sorry, I thought it was out west. I'm sorry, I missed the T there. Sorry. Yeah, correct.
My
So
fault.
yeah, so yes, there was a with the hot weather. I think we had some. It's called sun kinks. So if you get certain temperatures, the rail will actually buckle a bit. So we had to go remedy some of that, and that combined with some of the signaling issues.
Signal, and I remember the signal stuff.
Signal issue was definitely a part of it, but we did.
He has been trying to present an image like he has an idea what's going on. Of course, he has no idea what's going on, but he likes to pretend that he does.
Have sun kinks out there this past summer, which was can happen from time to time.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, yeah, boo.
Real kinks.
Real kinks.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Performance it's nice to see reporting, and it's nice to see we're making the needle go to.
All right, well, that was not, that was just another boring presentation from the board of no significance, and we're going to stop here because it's already 37 minutes, and you can see why I have such a hard time watching these, right? They're so dull and boring and useless on many levels, because it's all cheerleading, all of it. It's all scripted to make them look wonderful, and there's no management personnel that actually will get up there and say there's anything wrong. Every person that speaks in front of the board, if you notice, it's always how great we are, how great everything is, how great this project is. That's why I gave up watching these. But I'm still waiting. I want to hear Stedman's presentation. So we're going to wade through this a little bit at a time.
The right way.
All right, cut.